and adjust my
What's
stuff
going
as well
on?
here. It's morning for me, but it's good afternoon for you two, right?
Nope. Yeah, it's good afternoon. It's not a good
I'm
afternoon. It's a good
doing
afternoon for
great,
us.
man.
So, how you
Appreciate you
doing today,
both
sir?
for making it, and yeah, it's a blast. And I've never met your wife, so it's a pleasure to meet you. Hi. So,
Yeah.
Hi.
Rod, I did an interview with you. You know, you two are the owners of CrossFit 1209. I did an interview with you that's been about 2 years ago. And so
Yep.
I looked that up today in case people want to go ahead and check that out. That was Lynchpin Conversations number 163. And the little blurb that I wrote under that was that you were the owner of CrossFit 1209 in Augusta, Georgia. You talked about community, coaching, helping people, and why you guys chose to open a gym in the middle of a global pandemic. so maybe for
Yes.
anybody unfamiliar with you two, just give us a little backstory. You know, who are you? What are you all about? Tell me a bit about your gym.
Okay. So yeah, CrossFit 1209. We're based out of Augusta, Georgia. Um, Everybody asks what the name come from. CrossFit 1209. So today, September 12th, is our
Happy
wedding
It's an
anniversary.
anniversary.
So that's
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. So that's what stemmed the name. Also, at our previous location, that was the address. So after a bunch of names, got denied, that's how we got on that. Um, yeah, we're just real big on community. Just want to have a place for people to have somewhere and have fun and diverse environment that
What
they can come work out in.
what in the
Yes.
world made you want to go down the road of strength and conditioning and health and fitness to even get into this business in the beginning?
I think it was just a passion.
Hmm.
It was just a passion of just having that passion of fitness. Um, Went from that standpoint. Started out just normal, like everybody else, CrossFitting, and like, hey, everything looked, it's fun. Then start off my level ones, got the knowledge that on that weekend that pretty much blew my mind, and all right, this has to be shared with other people.
And
So, uh,
and again,
so that was
we
that was
talked about a couple
from that.
years ago, but I mean, you two opened or started during the pandemic. I mean, you had businesses failing left and right, and you two decided to try to open one. Walk me
Yeah.
through that decision.
It was I want to say God divine situation. Of course the pandemic was going around, and we were a friend of ours, a family of ours. They have an office space, and in the bottom is a basement. And so they was like, hey, we already have some equipment here. We can just start working out here. So it was
Okay.
just us finding somewhere to work out. And there were just six of us, just like I said,
Mm-hmm.
sneaking off through the streets and stuff, and just working out in the basement. And after a few months of that, the family, and their name is Richard and Belinda Watson, they was like, hey, you've always talked about having your own CrossFit gym. You can start here. It was like, really? And it's like, yeah. So we worked out those logistics, and CrossFit 1209 was
You know, that
born in
sounds
that
like with
moment.
6 people, like you said, very humble beginnings, you know, which you would think
Yep.
Yes.
with six members that it would be really tough to pay your rent, put food on the table, have some cars on the road and whatnot. So did it kind of start as a passion project, side hustle? I just like to do this, or was there plans of we want this to become what we do?
Well, yeah, it always the end goal was this should be our full-time occupation. Now it made it easier for us because financially we was we really didn't have any debt. We kind of lived
How
below our means
very
anyway.
un-American of you.
So making
I know, right?
so that made it a little easier so that way we didn't have so many bills running around that we had
Hmm.
to pay. So it did start it out like, okay, we know it's gonna take some progress just to get it going and get it started, but
Yeah.
we put ourselves in that position that
What a
we can't
smart,
afford ourselves
smart.
at
I
that
mean,
time.
life's
Uh,
stressful enough without having to worry about, debt and other things like that. Very good for you. So if today's the
Right.
anniversary, what year anniversary is it for the gym?
oh
Wedding
well,
anniversary, yeah. But how
today is
long
our
has the
wedding
gym been open?
anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's eight for
Eight
us,
for the wedding anniversary.
Okay,
and
8 for the
November
wedding,
will be 3 years.
3 in November for the gym. Okay, congrats.
Yeah.
Both things chugging
Yes.
along just fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
3 years open soon, coming in November. That's not too far along at all. 3 years is a good amount of time, to maybe look in the rearview mirror and say, whew, thought I had this figured out 3 years ago, thought this would go this way. This was a good idea. It actually went how we thought. This did not go how we thought at all. This was a waste of time, et cetera, et cetera. So, maybe for people on a similar journey or path of yours, or looking to open a gym soon and maybe learn from some other people's experience, when you two look in the rearview mirror, what was a big thumbs up, and what was, hey, this is a mistake that we made, you might want to avoid?
I can start off.
Go ahead.
Starting small and not thinking you have to go get this really big building,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
but actually starting small. Like I said, the basement was just enough.
I think it was like 500 square feet.
Yeah, 500 square feet. And we just had the support to be able to just both feet jumping in. So not going in out too big,
Right.
used equipment, and just a prayer and faith, and just like, okay, just slowly just learn things and just keep moving forward. You don't have to try to go out and become this really big CrossFit box. Just start off small, and just, if you're doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing and you have a passion for it like we do, then everything else will just fall into place. It won't be easy, but you go 2 steps forward and maybe 1 step back. But you have to keep moving forward and just know that this is what you're supposed to do.
I want to stay on the, what do you learn looking in the rearview mirror? But the space thing is an interesting one, because I think you're absolutely right. So many people these days, I don't know, you watch a documentary, you see social media, you think you have to start off in this 5,000 square foot, fully decked out with $150,000 worth of equipment. You're already starting out in a horrible deficit, like right away. So how long did you stay in that space, and what has been the evolution of your spaces? Like, when did you know it was time to move? And you went from about 500 square feet with how many members to, like, was it just the class was jammed and it was really obvious that you needed to move? Like, what was the decision-making process?
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked about the spacing, because today is opening up our new space today.
So we're at today.
We at there right now. You see your workout on the board.
Congratulations
again.
So.
Yep. So we started out at about 500 square feet, and we was like, okay, this is great. And then we knew it's gonna have to be a time. It has to be a point of time that we have to move on to a bigger location to attract more members to bring in so we can fit them. So we was right 30, 40 members, and we were like, okay, it's time to. If we're looking to grow a little bit past that, we can stay stagnant with that, or let's go and invest into a little bit bigger building. I think right now we from 500 square feet to like about 1,500 square feet right now. So now we can actually conserve more, clients and athletes and stuff like that. So that was just a gut feeling when it's time to move to a bigger location.
Well, I don't want to get off track. I'll circle back to that. So what else would come to your mind looking in the rearview mirror, either as something that you would highly recommend somebody does, or what would you recommend they avoid?
Okay. Go ahead and plan. I wish we'd have done it sooner, to go in and pay ourselves earlier. We waited to be like, okay, that's that, that throw all the money back in and, all that good stuff. But go in and have it, set out a plan, set out a salary for yourself right from the jump. And that way you're going to stick to it, so it's already in place. We have this $100 a month right now, $200, whatever that number is. You just have to go in and plan for it, not just I take what's ever left over. So we had to create that this year.
You're busting your tail, I'm sure. You deserve to get compensated for your efforts. I mean, you have to care about your clients, and people get into this for the right reason, but care doesn't keep the lights on. Like, you need some money going into the bank account to keep the lights on. Now, hopefully care will help you generate that money. Like, it goes round and round, but yeah, I mean, you got to, if you don't take care of yourselves, you can't take care of your clients, or else the place will close down. And that's not helping anybody out.
Right.
Absolutely.
Any other lessons learned or advice for
No.
people?
Hmm.
Has there been anything with
Gotta
maybe,
think, yeah.
I think
class times you thought would be popular, membership options, gear that you're like, we got to get this piece of gear, you never used it, like anything under the sun?
Don't go for the flashy gear. You need the basics.
the basic stuff.
The basic stuff. I mean, today, Pat, it'll be the first time our gym
Okay.
will do a rope climb. We haven't done rope climbs in over 3 years.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ring muscle ups be the first time we
Oh, cool.
actually got rings hanging up. So basic stuff. We had weights, barbells, dumbbells,
a bike, a
a
rower.
rower. Our rig was made out of wood that me and my buddy Rich made. We made that ourselves. Bought some crossbars, put it on there, and that was it.
Yeah.
I love
that was
that. I
outside.
see you on social media, see the stuff outside. I love that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Who doesn't like cool stuff? Everyone likes cool stuff, right? I mean, and it's exactly what it is. It's cool stuff. But there's something to me, maybe I'm just being nostalgic or romanticizing it or whatnot, but like the getting back to the basics where you just got some barbells, some of them spin, some of them don't. You've got some bumper plates that will do, most of them weigh what they should.
Yep.
Yes.
You can probably find some collars. There's a set of
Mhm.
squat stands somewhere in the corner if you need them, and you got a pull-up bar, and we made our own
Yes.
box. And even if you don't have a rower or bike, you
Mhm.
can get out and run. No, nobody wants to do that, but you can get out and run. And with that gear, you can
Right.
become a beast. And you can turn your community into a bunch of fire-breathing animals, even if you don't have a rope climb station or ring muscle ups. I mean, and that sounds like that's what you guys have been doing for a couple years now.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. I think the community that we've built, it came just from that. It's just the basics, learning the basics of how to move your body, just the functional movements and everything like that, and building community. That's the foundation that's holding up CrossFit 1209. It's just the basics and taking away the glitz and glams of it. And that's why we're
Well, I'm glad
where
you
we're
brought that up because I
this
wanted to
moment.
touch on that because, you hear, not all gyms make it, whether it's CrossFit or any other small business. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so to make it is an achievement, but then to let alone not only make it, but to be growing and thriving, that you need to increase your square footage or whatnot, you guys are obviously doing something right. So if you had to kind of try to articulate that for people at home, what is it doing that's not only keeping your doors open, but is growing at CrossFit 1209?
This guy.
Well, for one, I know we had early on, we polled our existing members to come up with some core values about our gym. So we came as a gym, we came up with about 6 things about our core values. Accountability, discipline, consistency, teamwork, fun, integrity. So we figured, okay, let's build on those, and the people who adapt to those core values will love our gym.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones who don't like those core values will not like our gym, and we was okay with that. And and the last one was fun. I think I missed that one.
Fun,
I think we had too much fun sometimes, but no such thing as too much. But yeah, so we did that, and the right people just stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people who probably felt like they wanted to buy one, it was okay with us. And I think we got one of the best communities in the world.
Yes.
Tied aside with Lynchpin, I think it's.
And how are people
one of the best
finding your
communities that
gym?
we have.
How are members coming through the door?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth is one.
Oh.
Google.
Oh, really?
Google
Okay.
has been our friend. Yes.
Local events.
Local events. So we have a farmers market
that's a
that we
good
go
idea.
to. Being present on, yes. Being present on social media, and just going from there. So it's been a lot of word of mouth where people like, oh, I just Googled CrossFit gyms in the area.
Okay.
And you guys popped up.
And
so they just come on
and
through.
how many classes you guys run in a day, and how many of those classes are one of you coaching?
So we run 5 classes a day: 6, 7, 9, 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. We have one part-time coach that kind of come in on a sub basis, looking to get her more classes, just to kind of spare it off. But most time I'm coaching about 80% of the classes, and class sizes stay anywhere between about 8 to 10. So it's good enough we can have enough time to coach everyone. Everybody feel like I'm getting on their nerves, so that's cool. But keep it around 5 classes. I coach about 80% of them, but still had that sub to come in at least about once a week to take
that's
some
an interesting thing,
classes.
and I guess each gym has to deal with it at a different point as they grow or expand. It's a very common thing that I hear of, like, gyms that are really cool. They're doing things right. They have a great culture. People enjoy being there, like, et cetera, et cetera. And it's usually that the owners are still very much involved in what's going on, and it's I don't hear that too frequently that an owner's like, no, I'm not coaching. I haven't coached in months. It's like, I tend to see, again, there's people that have pulled it off, but the more common story I hear is that, this is your guy's baby, and it's, your community and your extended family and whatnot. And for that group of people to know that you're there and you're involved, I think that probably not a coincidence that things are going well. Rod, are you just exhausted at the end of coaching 5 classes?
Man, to be honest with you, I thought I would. It may be some few days, but honestly, I be honestly be good. I really do. I think I enjoy it so much, especially when people starting to get it.
Hi, honey.
I think that really
My little
energized me.
girl just ran in. Sorry about that.
Oh,
That was with my wife frantically
it's
screaming
fine.
after her. Going live, things happen live.
but
Poor little girl.
Hey, it's
Probably,
life.
I just probably
Definitely
broke her heart.
live,
So you're
yeah,
actually
so
doing
no
pretty
problem.
well at the end of all that coaching?
yeah. I think the small break we get, sometime in the evening when I have our coach Shanice come in, that's a nice break. But we're not necessarily, we don't have open gym. We're not trying to push a Sunday class.
Oh yeah.
We're not trying to do too much. I think that's the biggest deal. But we're not trying to strength, skill, workout, strength. I think that can be exhausting. But knowing if I can just focus like today, 8x200s.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn how to run. And
I was gonna say,
we're gonna make it work.
When first of all, when I started Lynchpin, I had no idea where it would go. I just wanted to put out what I thought was the truth, and if you liked it, great. If you didn't, you can go somewhere else with no hostility. It's just, that's cool. This just isn't for you. Kind of like what you said. We get these core values. If they fit for you, you'll have a wonderful home. If not, that's okay. You can roll somewhere else, because we program stuff that's unpopular. Such as 8x200 meter runs. What's it been like for you as coaches in your community on those less than popular days that come up, to get people to buy in to actually do it?
It's a love and hate situation.
Okay, give it
They love and hate you, Pat. Your name comes up a lot. But the great thing about it is, when those days come up, everyone is still here, and going back and looking at what was their progress when we've done it before to now, and actually seeing the difference. I think that's the buy-in of like, oh my gosh, I was 10 seconds faster this time than I was last time. It's the retesting that is the fuel for our members to be like, okay, yeah, it's a running day, but I'm gonna complain a little, but I'm gonna be in there, and at the end, I'm glad that I did.
Feel free to tell them that I complain too. I don't want to do this stuff. It just happens to work.
Yes.
But some of my members were so new that they don't necessarily understand like how it was, or the how it's going. This just normal. Like, you get them to go to another gym, they put all that stuff on the board. They walking out.
Yeah.
Because this the only thing they know.
Yes.
One workout a day. You see all this.
So you two are very busy, coaching all the time and whatnot. How in the world have you been able to try to not only maintain what you've got going on as a coach, but even improve as a coach? That's got to be a challenge.
Yeah. always you're surfing the web. You're looking at videos.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at a good podcast like Very Not Random. I catch those every Tuesday. Just talking to people or hearing from people who have the fruit on the tree. Of course, always getting the certifications when some coming up. You got the time. You're just gonna make it work. So
we believe in mentorship.
Yep.
I mean, we have no problem in seeing what everyone else is doing, asking questions, seeking help, and things of that nature, because we know the results that others have and the fruit of the tree that others have is what we're aiming for. So let's talk to them. Let's reach out to them. And if it works for us, great. If it doesn't, great. But at least when we have other people that we can go to that has the blueprint of sort, and we can just walk in their footsteps.
And on top of everything else that you two have going on, as busy as you must be, you've actually started your own podcast, right? Yeah, tell what's the name?
Right.
What's it about? How can people find it?
1209 Podcast.
Yeah.
And we started it. We just thought it would be a good voice for one, for people to learn about CrossFit, and then also second part that people who who look like us can hear someone talking about CrossFit, and that we can get through some of the myths. We can get through some of some of the stuff that you hear on the internet that's not.
I was going to say
not necessarily true.
People might be watching this when I
so
post
that's
it in audio format. So what do you mean, people who look like you?
Yes,
we're black.
We are black, African American. So and we get the craziest look sometimes, Pat, when people tell them we own CrossFit, we own a CrossFit gym.
Like, you own it, or somebody else own it and you're running it? No, we own.
And why,
CrossFit 1209.
From your perspective, why do you think that is? Why do you think you get the odd looks?
Because there's not a lot of us in the CrossFit community. There's a handful of us, and then to say that we own that part, it's just I don't know. I think it's just the culture that we live in, to where as African Americans, we have to prove, it comes to a point that we have to prove our credibility and things and the knowledge that we have to be business owners and own a CrossFit gym. We have to prove all of that before someone would actually take us serious. And it sucks that is that way, but we're
I've got no doubt, never having walked a mile in your shoes, that's completely accurate. But I guess what I'm also curious as to, you said that maybe the population or the cohort of Black people or African Americans in the CrossFit community is significantly smaller, compared to white people, whatever it happens to be. Why do you have a sense? Because that's a very common question, right? It might just be like, well, why aren't there more Black people doing CrossFit? You can find it online just like everything else. The workout's posted for free, just like anything else, But I'm not sure what the answer to that question is. Do you have a sense as to why there's just not more Black people doing CrossFit? Is it an actual issue, or is it just going to take some time? What's your sense of it?
I think it's a little bit of both. Start off with awareness. Some people just need to be aware, like, hey, it's available.
Right.
This is where it's at. This is what you can do. And then once you let people know it's available, now it got to be the personal choice. Like, okay, let me try it. I know what I heard. I know what I've been hearing on internet. Oh, this is a white person sport. This is not. You got to flush that. You got to come up with your own conclusions and give it a try for yourself. And once you give it a try for yourself, now you can figure out, okay, this is for me, or this is not for me. But
right.
to strictly eliminate it because you hear some stuff on the internet like, oh, just a white person's sport, it costs too much, oh, this, that, then you're not giving yourself a chance.
Right. And then I also believe that just from where we come from, we're only exposed to basketball and football. So starting at a younger generation, that there's more out there besides basketball and football in our neighborhoods, and taking it to our neighborhoods and showing them, hey, this is available for us too. So I'm thinking if we start at a younger age in our communities and in our schools, just like soccer has been introduced a little more, and you're starting to see more African Americans in soccer. Coco Gauff just won the U.S. Open, so you're seeing more people in tennis. The more exposure that can be brought to CrossFit for people that look like us, I think you will start seeing an explosion in CrossFit, and we are willing and are willing to just be those feet that go into the community starting here to just expose others to
what will
we
be
have going
your
on.
take on what is one of the other very common things is maybe a barrier to entry is the cost side of it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways to look at costs. Now, my personal belief that people pay for stuff they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal belief. Again, unless you living under a bridge, that's a different story. But just the average person walking around, I think with a right budget, you can afford CrossFit. Because let's throw them out there, Pat. Let's say CrossFit was $160.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know people got different costs and whatnot, but if you break that down, coming 5 times a week, that's 20 times a month. All right, 20 times 6, 20 times 7, 20 times 8. You're looking at almost about $7, $8 per workout.
Yeah.
Now, the same person who probably sit there and say, "Ooh, I cannot afford that." Well, I can make that argument like, "Well, hey, that's
Oh
just
my
skip
goodness!
Starbucks.
I mean, no joke, right
just
there.
one time." Yeah, and we can skip Starbucks one time a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's CrossFit money. And then I look at it to the point too. Okay, you're gonna pay. Either you're gonna pay now, or
That's
you're gonna
the
pay
truth
later.
right
That's
there.
right.
I mean, CrossFit.
So,
It's funny. It's just the whole 9 yards, right? I guess as long as you know where to find the resources,
yeah,
there's something that can meet you where you're at, because you can learn how to sprint, run, push-ups, plank holds, basic gymnastics, air squats, lunges, burpees. I mean, you can become a beast with no gear and it'll cost you nothing, zilch, zero. Or you can get a small amount of gear and work out in your garage, or you can join a local gym and find a community. Like there's something on your spectrum of resources, but you just have to be aware that it's out there and know where the heck to look for it. But you can probably find something that'll meet you where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And the pay now, and I just saw somebody else chime in with the pay now or pay
Yeah.
later with your health. I mean, that's for sure.
Right.
If
Exactly.
$150 or so might be quote unquote expensive for CrossFit, it's certainly more expensive to make better choices in the grocery store than to eat junk. That certainly costs you more. But in the long run, if you're just racked with chronic disease and just a life of agony and decrepitude, that's a significant cost right there as well. That people, I don't think people look down the road, right? And they don't see that might be coming for you based upon the decisions you're making this week or this month.
Right. And I think the cost is a cop-out, my personal opinion, because if you truly want to do CrossFit, and finances may be a little much right now, you can probably talk to the owner and just say, hey, this is something I truly want to do. What can we figure out? And you and that owner can probably have that conversation and come up with a plan. But you can't use that as an excuse of why you're not doing CrossFit. No, let's try to figure out what can we do. You may be able to sweep up the floor and clean up or something and get a discount on your membership. So I don't want people to use that as an excuse of not being educated and know exactly what CrossFit is and the benefits that it can bring to your life and to your health. And
start the
go for
conversation, right? Never hurts to ask.
Right.
Well,
never hurt
I
to
tell you
ask.
what, we let people know about you too. We let you know where to find your podcast. Whatnot. Is there anything that we neglected to talk about that we should have covered?
Oh man, and I don't think nothing, man.
No.
It's great. Like I said, we're moving into the new gym, so a new era for our gym. If you're in the Augusta area, come check us out. And I think we covered a good bit. I mean, we always sit there and say we can't do it without your programming.
Yeah,
that's one less thing
honored to have you as
Yes.
part of the Lynchpin community. It's how you two do business, the core values that you have, what you're representing. It's, the pleasure is all mine. So I really hope that people walk through your door. I think they'll have a better life because of it. So please keep up what you're doing. Hey, happy anniversary.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All
Thank
right. Talk to
you.
you soon. Keep it up.
So,
Bye-bye.
All right.
take care.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Pat.
it.